Hi, and welcome back. This is Artistry Collaborative, and I am JoAnn. I hope you're coming back. This is my second video, and I just hope that you're enjoying it. We are going today to do a vintage page using paper bags. I am trying to really stress that use items that you have around the house. I don't want you to go crazy thinking I don't have art supplies. You probably have more than you think you do. And if you really want to delve in, then you could also order online, Amazon, Walmart, all of those things. But I'd like you to just stay home and use what you have, and I'm going to give you lots of options. So I hope you're doing really well. I know this is a very crazy time, but that's why I started with art journaling, because I think it's really important to express ourselves, and no better way than an art journal, because it's colorful, it's fun, it's easy, and accessible. So come along and join me. All right, so we're going to do this vintage page. I prepared a page in my journal already, but I just want to, I did a recording yesterday and I realized that, I assume you know what I'm talking about, but if this is your first time joining us, you may not have seen the previous videos, and so you don't know what I'm talking about. So I just thought I would go over what we're doing right from the beginning. So what this is just a brown paper bag or craft paper, whatever you have. One of the things I really want to emphasize, especially being in home confinement, that I want you to use things that you have around the house. I think, yes, I'm going to put a link to all the items that you can order from Amazon or Walmart, JoAnn's, Michael's, but I wanted you to see that you don't have to spend a lot of money. You can use what you have in your stash, in your home. And so that's why today we are going to use things that we have. Now right now I'm using this Liquitex Super Heavy Gloss Gel, and I really like it, but actually I was supposed to use Mod Podge. I use Mod Podge on there, and that's, you can get that at any craft store, but you can also buy a small tiny bottle at the dollar store, just to try it out for $1. They even have tacky glue that works well, so you don't have to invest. When I was putting the links to all the products that I do use a lot of products, but there are a lot of substitutions, and when I put the links down, what I'm trying to tell you is these are suggestions. You do not have to buy that name brand. You do not have to buy from Amazon. You can buy anywhere you want. But, if you like the products that I'm using, then by all means, use the links. But please feel free to use whatever you have and whatever you like. All right, so I put down the glue. Again, it could have been, I did Mod Podge on here, and this is the heavy gel. This is much more pricier, so I tend not to use this as much. But I had it out this morning, so I think that's why I reached for it. But we're going to put that aside for now. All right, so this would be in your book, and the wrinkles are going to give it that old vintagey look, which I love. And so that's that. So here we are in my book, and move this out of the way. And we're going to start off with just inking around the edges. Now, if you don't have ink, take a brown or black magic marker, and you can go around the edge. If you have a charcoal pencil, that would work. But this is going to age the page and make it look even more. And if you really wanted to, you could burn it. Just don't set your house on fire. But you could you know, take a match and just burn the edges so that it looked like an old piece of paper that was mishandled many, many times. So there's many, many, many options that you can use that you may have and you didn't even know. Shoe polish. You could use shoe polish, although be very careful because you're definitely going to have to seal that. You don't want that going all over your page. But and then you could rub it all over. Just age the page, and I'll be cleaning my sponge at the same time. Then I wanted to add some background. So I have some stamps. I have this beautiful stamp. My daughter bought this one's extremely pricey. I would never buy it, but she did, so I'm going to use it. And excuse me, this is the first time it's being used, so it probably needs a lot of ink. But it's not about getting the words correct. As a matter of fact, that's upside down. I didn't really want it upside down, but and you just put a little bit here and a little bit there, and it just looks like, you know, old printing. I like this one because it's cursive. Now see, that didn't come out at all. All right. And then I like this one too because this has like the postmark. I like that. So what I've been thinking about is journaling, you know, this crazy times that we're in, and what it all means and how we're going to get through it. And I'm just thinking about time. Now, my mom just turned 100. So this is, she didn't know about it at the time because it began 2 years before she was born, but in 1918 there was the Spanish flu. And here she is 100 years later, and now we have the coronavirus. And so I'm thinking about, you know, time and how we're managing and how we get through this, and you know, all the advances that have happened in the last 100 years, and yet something like a bug can just wipe us out completely. And so I wanted to focus on the time element and just to learn and to reflect. So now, if you don't have a stamp, you can also take a permanent marker. You'd need to use a Sharpie. And you could just write maybe things that you're thinking about, or maybe just scribble. You know, that happens too. You know, sometimes you'll see a lot of people just do stuff like this. But I can write thinking about time. We all have lots of time now. What are we doing with our time? You know? Thoughts, scribbles, you know, doesn't matter. And then I have this tissue paper that I bought. This is by Tim Holtz. And I just love it because this has like the paint nibs, and this looks like a typewriter. And so this I'm going to use the gel for. Absolutely. Because it's so thin, you want a very thin adhesive. And so I'm just going to take these little pieces, and you just carefully put your glue down, and you can put them on your page. And there you go. Oh, I forgot to set my timer. Let me set my timer. After 15 minutes, I need to shut down because we'll lose you. So we don't want to do that. So it's 225. So let's see, 240. And today is Wednesday. Yes. Save. So we're ringing 14 minutes. That's great. Okay. So, yeah. So you just take these little bits and pieces and scatter them around. You could take maybe old stamps and put those down. But I also wanted it to have an old world feel. So I gathered some images that I have bought. Again, a lot of these are from Tim Holtz. Tim Holtz is a designer of a lot of things artistic. You can get them at JoAnn's, you can get them online. They are put out by the company Ranger. They have fabulous, fabulous products. So, yeah. So you can look that up. I love his products. So, I apologize for that. He's, I think, making, he's a next door neighbor, and he's making honeybee boxes. So that's what he's doing with his time, which is a great thing. I have no complaints as long as the bees are far away from me. Not that I don't like bees, but I'm allergic to them, so not a great thing for me. And so there's that. Now again, I went over my writing, which is fine. It's there. It doesn't matter. One of the things about art journaling is building up layers. And so you want to encourage that. So don't shy away from it. It's okay. It certainly is okay. Now I thought I would also use some stencils and stencil some in the background. This is a Tim Holtz day because this is a Tim Holtz stencil. So I'm going to try some copper color and see how that works out. Some of these stamps are very, very, very old, so I'm not sure. Oh, that looks pretty good actually. And there we got that. Oh, I'm liking that. And then I'll put a little down here. Awesome. And we'll do a little bit up here. It amazes me, you know, the things that, what they use for inspiration for these stencils. And then we have this really cool gears. This one I think I want to do in a really dark color. This is an archival ink. It's also by Ranger. And this one is called Black Soot. The last one was just a copper. It was just a regular ink pad. But this is called Black Soot. And we're going to get all that in there. And of course, the more you go over it, the darker it will become. And when I first started art journaling, I used to go, why are you covering up what you just did? But it kind of is a fun exploration of what you can create. You know, you didn't know that that little bit of color would peek through and just give it a whole different, there you go, meaning. So don't fear. I love mixed media. I love art journaling because you can get away from worrying about messing it up, because we like when things go wrong. It makes for an interesting page. Look at that. Yeah. Cool. Absolutely cool. So now some of the images I have. Now I also have this tape. This really is a Tim Holtz page. I think I should send it in to Tim and say, look what I created with your products. But this is what they call washi tape. Not sure what washi stands for, but you can, it's just a really, it's like a papery tape. It's very, very cool. And so they use it for all kinds of things. When I start to show you how to make journals, you're going to use that a lot. A lot. But this looks just like tickets. Very cool. Very cool. And again, as you can see, there's no, I'm not thinking about this. I haven't prepared it. I haven't thought about it. I just grabbed some things that I'd like to work with, and I'm putting that in there. Now, one of the things that I did find was a clock, and I do want the clock in there, and I love that the clock doesn't have handles, because time, we have no idea. Here's a calendar. We have no idea how long we're going to be locked into this. I like the globe because sending love around the world, we all need healing and patience, and I like this guy, so he could be sitting on the calendar. What do you think? Yeah, I don't know. Should it go that way? Should it go this way? As you can tell, I'm indecisive. But yeah, that kind of works. I think that kind of works. I'm going to put this guy here. Yeah, I like that. Alright, so then I'm going to use Mod Podge. I buy Mod Podge by the gallon, and so I just pour it in these little containers when I do a class, so that my students all have their own little container of it, and they don't have to all dip from the same jar. Just makes life so much easier. So yeah, if you can, please check out my website. It's called artistrycollaborative.org, and I started it last year. I haven't, again, technically I am just challenged, to say the least, but I'm proud of it, and it does show some classes that we will be doing. And I'm going to see if I can learn how to put a class online so that we could actually maybe FaceTime or Instagram a whole class. I could give you the list of product that you would need, and you could purchase it or make sure you have it, and then we could create together. I think that would be a lot of fun. And there's one class that I created myself many years ago, about 15 years ago, and it was totally by accident, and it's watercoloring, which I love watercolors. If you don't have any, I highly recommend them because I'm going to use them a lot. And it's just, I call it Creativity Awakening Watercolor Collage, and it's exactly what it is. And it's part spiritual. It's about releasing, letting go, discovering, and getting out of your own way. So that's a class that I would like to, and it wouldn't be very expensive supply. Well, it wouldn't be very, I wouldn't charge a lot of money either. I mean, some of these classes are $300 online. That's just crazy. But it would only require a watercolor palette, which, I mean, you can get one at Michael's for $6, and some watercolor brushes, and also a pad, and a canvas to put all your things on. So yeah, so that's that. So this is looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. I think I'm going to stamp a little bit more because I lost a lot of the stamping. So let's stamp right here. That didn't come out very well. Sometimes it's best to stamp down. Let me show you what I mean, like this. Sometimes it's best to stamp that's just messy, but it's okay. Okay, and I wanted to use the big stamp. Let's put some writing across here. Hard to tell when you can't read it. There. All right. And so once this is completely dry, then I will go back with my Mod Podge and I will completely cover it and let it dry overnight. And there's our page. And I'm going to put the date on here. And it is April 8th, 2020. And I think I'm going to write how long. How long do we go on? All right, my friends, I hope you have a wonderful day. Again, I will list all the products in the drop-down comments. And if you like what you see, please like this and subscribe and tell your friends and share it on Facebook or wherever you go. I really appreciate it. I'm hoping to gain more and more followers and do more and more fun things. And I hope you are safe. By the way, I also have a podcast. It's called Inner Promptings, and you can find it on iTunes and Spotify, Google, Apple, and that's going to be in the drop-down box also. So check it out. It's about encouraging creativity, which is what I'm all about. So all right, you have a wonderful day. You stay safe and be well.